Hey there, Z Nation fans! Welcome to another episode of the Z Nation After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we are talking about Season 4, Episode 2, Escape from Zona. And guys, we have a very special guest with us tonight. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Well, guys, oh man, this episode was an adrenaline rush to say the least. That's a good way to put it.
Little tense.
Little intense, just a little bit. How are we all feeling tonight?
Good. Yeah.
Good.
How you doing? Good.
Little intense. Little intense.
Still reeling a little bit?
Just a bit.
Well, let's not waste any time. Hey there, Z Nation fans. Welcome to another episode of our after show. Tonight we're talking about Escape from Zona. Let's not waste any time. Let me introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can follow me on all the social medias at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet.
To her left, Michelle Cullen.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And to her left, joining us in studio is our very, very special guest, Sydney Viengluang.
Perfect.
That
AKA, you may know her as the wonderful Sun May on the show.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. We are also going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVZNation, as well as an eye on the live chat. Thank you, Katie, for taking care of that.
This is why you keep me.
Before we get started, and before I forget, because we ran out of time last week, I want to go ahead and give you guys just a quick second to talk about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you, and it is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on. It's because of your continued support that we're able to keep this after show going in the format that it is. So guys, those comments really do help. It's what keeps the lights on here and keeps us at these fancy desks. And if you guys do leave a comment, we'll give you a shout out on the show. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to a couple people who left comments over the hiatus, because like I said, we ran out of time last week. I want to Love It by Rainbow iPhone, who gives 5 stars. Your podcast is awesome fun, and I love that you have the cast into chat as well. And we had somebody say, great finale by FL Moto Chick. Love the finale wrap-up. Can't wait for Season 4. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. You guys are awesome, and it means a lot to us, so thank you. All right. Let's talk about this. Let's just go around the table real quick. Impressions of this week's episode.
It definitely had a few things that I wasn't expecting, but overall I am really not surprised that our nice little zombie-free paradise just completely...
Wait. You're saying you're not surprised that Zona didn't work out?
We're watching Z Nation.
Michelle?
I'm surprised we didn't have more time in Zona, because it was kind of
For all the build-up
very
that we
big
had.
build-up to that, to have it be that Warren wakes up and now everything's going to crap. Kind of.
That's what happens when our characters show up at someplace nice.
That was it. If she had
We just
stayed
got
in
a nice
coma,
little... Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
if she had stayed in a coma, the place would probably be still doing great.
We got a nice little 2-year delay on this one, but it's a going pattern. Every time they show up and someplace seems to have its act together, by the end of the episode, it will be in shambles. Because that's just how we work.
How about you, Sydney?
I read the script, so I know what
that's fair.
So basically listing off, because something this episode did really well is setting up a lot of questions to be answered later on. So for you, you're like, yeah, I know that one already, I know that one.
Should we have someone bring you in popcorn so you can eat it while we're making predictions?
Yeah,
Just
I'll
be
just
like,
be like,
yep, entertainment.
Yep.
For me, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this episode was a great example of how well this show can build tension. Because there were the scenes with Addie and 10K having a standoff with one another. I was on the edge of my seat. And, trying to escape from Zona was also kind of, if you could zoom in on my knuckles at the time, I'm sure I was white-knuckled throughout those entire sequences. So this was definitely a fun one. It was a good, tense episode. I do want to ask, though, just kind of off talking about how good this episode was at like building tension and atmosphere. How has it been so far, like coming back to this show? Because we'll talk about it a little bit later, but your character had probably one of the most straight up hair-raising scenes in the entire series, I think, to date.
Which was?
Which was just the scene where she wakes up and everyone's gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a pretty fun scene to tape. But I mean, there's nothing that's revealed in the episode. It's just kind of like a big question mark, and I don't even know what is that question mark, the answer to that question mark, or what I actually see. Because I asked the director, and I'm like, what am I actually seeing? We don't even know. So they'll figure it out in season 5 if there is a season 5.
So they gave you nothing in terms of illuminating what was going on.
No, I basically had to use my imagination of what I saw out there. So
The camp is empty. Go.
yeah. So
can we talk about that a little bit? Because it's one thing when you have other actors to play off of, and it's one thing when you have dialogue to sort of draw from, but it's a completely different thing when you as an actor have to go out there by yourself and it's 100% just the camera angles and your emoting that sell the scene. So did you do anything in particular to prepare for this extended sequence?
I just do my normal homework as an actor, inner monologue, what I'm thinking, what Sun-Mei would be thinking, waking up with, Red gone, everybody in the camp gone, just living in the moment and as the character. So there's nothing you can really pre-plan or pre-think, about that. But it's definitely an exercise in having an emotional life underneath, because if you're just and with nothing going on underneath, then it's gonna not come off.
It's gonna fall flat.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
So, but those are the moments where it is fun to kind of do the subtleties of what you're thinking inside and how you're feeling. So I'm glad that it came off as suspenseful and just build up, because that was the hope of the scene.
It was bone chilling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
So did
Thank
they just throw you out there and go explore the space and then just
I
start
got
rolling
direction.
the cameras?
Abram, who directed the episode, he's really specific about go here. I want you to pause here. I want you to explore here, look in that tent. So he's very specific as far as direction wise.
So you had your blocking at least.
Yeah, I had my blocking. But he's not gonna be raise this eyebrow.
He's not micromanaging your emotions.
Very intense, or curl lips, or no, he's not that. But as far as blocking, hit this spot, this is where the camera's gonna be, and those directions.
Well, it was really effective seeing it all come together.
Thank you.
So kind of talking about the sort of 2-year time gap, when we touched on this a little bit in our last recap, but all of the characters have been separated for the last 2 years. And we've kind of gotten a little bit of a glimpse of what Sun-Mei has been up to, but it really is just that. It was a glimpse. Now, in your mind, what do you think has been occupying Sun-Mei for the majority of the 2 years between seasons?
I had to create my own backstory, because obviously there was a 2-year gap, and the first episode of season 4, I basically had to fill in the blanks of 2 years. So after the season finale of season 3, I just created that me and Doc, we ended up at the refugee camp. Everyone else was either dead or ran away somewhere, and I just basically helped as the refugee camp doctor as much as I could, and that's where I've been for the past 2 years. So.
Yeah. And that must be from her character standpoint, it must be very difficult for her to just hang on to any semblance of hope, because she had 2 major missions. The first fell apart as soon as she met this group, and then she slowly saw this group fall apart until everyone was scattered to the winds.
Yeah. I think I was trying to play with the hope and the doubt of, okay, well, the whole point of me coming, to Operation Bite Mark was to get a cure for the zombie virus, and now that's kind of then why am I here? What is my purpose? What is Sun-Mei's purpose? So I had to make it, well, the survivors that we do have, I'm the only one who can help them either medically or emotionally or mentally, because I have been in the apocalypse now for 2+ years. So I had to rework my new mission, I guess, personally.
Yeah, having to kind of retroactively reevaluate, where am I? And like, okay,
Yeah.
what's going to keep me moving forward?
Exactly.
Talking about the zombie virus cure and how it sort of that didn't really pan out.
That didn't.
No.
But did we really think it was?
No.
No, exactly.
Let's talk about this opening scene, because all of last week, and we got hints of it with the Stepford situation and with talks of the reset, but I kept going, when is the other shoe going to drop? In terms of Zona, when is that shoe going to drop? And after this opening scene, I was like, right as the opening thing starts to play, I'm like, there's the shoe. There it is. So
All I
initial
can
impressions,
think of is, like, don't drink and drive, guys. Just don't.
that's just irresponsible. Yeah, just generally speaking, that's irresponsible.
I thought for sure the guy that they hit was gonna, be a Z and get back up and start attacking people, and then we have an unkillable Z in Zona. I was not expecting the feeding frenzy. It's like, hey, impromptu buffet. Let's do this.
I do kind of agree with that. I think my brain was going to, this is going to turn into a zombie. That's just what's logically going to happen. There's no logic in Z Nation. I should know better by now.
That's the tagline. There's no logic in Z Nation.
Hashtag Z Nation Science.
What they did, and they did it so
exactly.
well, is they made you uncomfortable with kind of, unfortunately, kind of commonplace behavior, if you will, uncomfortable behavior between a man and a woman, and he's drinking and driving and not keeping his eyes on the road. And also, don't people have self-driving cars here? But that's beside the point. Maybe that's just a Murphy vehicle.
But he's a man's man, and he
also
drives his own car and drinks his own whiskey.
And then he calmly hits another human being and gets out of the car and eats him. And no part in my brain at the beginning of that scene led to that end.
Yeah.
So it was very well done in that twist.
That Zona was, I mean, like I said, when you read the script and then what you actually see, especially because I wasn't in Zona, my character, and I didn't shoot any scenes. I wasn't there to see what Kalita and Keith shot. They did a really good job as far as that, like, weird, Stepfordy Zona neighborhood, I guess. So I was really surprised. I was like, wow, a lot of weird shit going on. Can I say that?
In language of the show, so yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, and especially the man with the golf club.
Oh my
That
god.
Really creepy.
Was
Because
the
like I said,
best
like,
monologue this season so far, and
Yeah.
I realize it's only episode 2.
Yeah.
But just that bit and going on and on about how it's in the preparation and the follow through and,
keep your
just
elbows
like
straight, and he did a really good job, because you could just tell like, he was just like boiling underneath and just about to, like, something's gonna happen with this guy. So I do. When I saw the scene, everyone was awesome and weird in their own way and just creepy. But him specifically, I remember, like, this guy is really, really scary. Like, he's gonna do something weird.
he just wrecked a guy.
Yeah.
And he has no cognizant thought of that was wrong or I just killed a person. None of that matters because he has opinions on golf.
Yeah.
And
And like
it's
you were saying,
just-
doing something normal, but in such a weird, way.
He also wasn't degenerative enough. Is that the word I want to use? I don't even know anymore. He didn't.
His cognitive functions didn't seem like they were that out
as
of place, I
far
guess.
gone
Yeah.
as the other ones who immediately went to eating a human. He just beat a human to death. He's on a different tier of okay.
But it's
His
still
screw's just a little loose.
Only a little.
And I
Not
feel
fully
like
off.
the people that ate another human were just super casual about it. So I feel like we have the mild dementia and we have the cognitive. Well, I just lost the word. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going. Less immediately turns to violence and more turns to violence and doesn't really get that there's nothing, that there's something wrong
It's
with
like
that.
slowly but surely the way that life has gone in Zona is being warped and distorted
Yeah.
until, like, everything falls apart.
It is super normal to just murder a man over his backswing. Whatever. His backswing was terrible, therefore I'm justified.
He ruined his game.
Yep.
Well, in Zona, these are the most important things when you're amongst the, what, 0.00001%.
Murphy missed lawn bowling.
Yeah. How are they supposed to go about the rest of the game, Michelle? How are they supposed to go about doing that?
Good Lord, rich white people problems. Jeez.
But yeah,
Man alive.
those two scenes in conjunction with one another, the opening and the confrontation with the golfer, I feel like the opening did a really good job of immediately upheaving expectations, and then the scene with the golfer just kind of ramped that up to 11 in a very short amount of time. So, well done, Abram. Holy cow.
I will say the thing about Khalid and Keith's storyline, Warren and Murphy, is that threw me for a loop, that made me laugh a little bit, is that it's Dr. Teller saying, it'll all make sense soon, we have to go, there's no time. And their entire storyline of leaving the lawn bowling people to getting on the helicopter was supposedly a 10-minute thing that took the entire 46-minute episode. And it was happening at the same time as the other story that, they traveled miles and did a shootout, and it was kind of comical to me.
It's like a Dragon Ball Z episode. The planet will explode in 5 minutes. 10 episodes later. The planet will explode in 5 minutes. Oh my God.
Later. That was an entire
You gotta
season.
fill up the full hour.
You gotta fill it up. There's no time. There's so much time, Dr. Teller.
No,
There's so much.
Any time a character goes, there's no time to explain, I'm like, I beg to differ.
You can talk and walk.
There's always
Come
time
on,
to
man.
explain.
You wouldn't understand. Well, tell us before your brain gives out. Or maybe that was part of his degenerative thing. He's just going, I'm out of time, I'm out of time, I'm out of time.
Okay. Well done.
Fixing your least favorite tropes.
There you go. Speaking of, again, it's I feel so bad for Dr. Teller because at the end of the last episode I was like, yay, Dr. Teller's back. And at the end of this episode I'm like, oh,
But not for long.
Oh, Dr. Teller's gone. Oh, that's about the pace of a Z Nation character.
Yep.
That makes sense. But talking about that storyline as well is they make another stop, and that's to the founder to try to get onto this helicopter escape. And
They literally have to go through his house to get to the complex that has the helipad. Like, was Zona built like a funnel?
So why did they go to the warehouse again? I've watched this twice, and I still don't understand why they went into the warehouse.
They went to the warehouse to get guard uniforms because they thought they could create a more convincing story to the founder in order to get to where the helicopter pad was if they were dressed up like guards, as opposed to Murphy and Warren being like, hey, we're taking a pleasure cruise, even though that's what ended up working.
Yeah.
Well, the only people getting shipped out were soldiers.
That I understand. Were they going to the warehouse to get guard uniforms and then came across two guards that were their same height and body shape? And they were like, this works. That's easier. I do not understand.
I feel like that's what happened. It's the old, drag them into an alleyway and come out wearing
The
their
warehouse
clothes.
is the least conspicuous place to knock guards unconscious and steal their uniform and leave them naked for dead.
Well, obviously you can run around and murder people with a golf club in the warehouse and no one's going to notice.
Well, they're going insane, so I forgive the fact that they're in the warehouse. I'm really hung up on the warehouse right now.
I'm going off on a limb and assuming that they're able to get away with this because everybody, as Dr. Teller explains, everybody who's been injected with Murphy's vaccine is very, very quickly deteriorating.
That's true.
And what's interesting, again, if the residents of Zona are already displaying cannibalistic tendencies and violent, erratic behavior,
They don't have long.
This is a very short process before I feel like they full on go like 28 days later rage zombies, which is strangely enough a type of zombie that we haven't seen in Z Nation yet.
See, this is what I kind of love, is that we've had Murphy there for 2 years. We got a 2-year time skip, and I would imagine that they got the vaccine made fairly quickly. So you've got like a year and a half generously on this vaccine, and everything's hunky-dory. and then within the span of 24 hours, you are gone. Like, wow, that's a long incubation period.
That's what happens when you don't do long-term testing. I'm just saying.
Yep.
I will say, in support of the warehouse.
Back to the warehouse. She cannot let that go.
There's an important subplot point that I'm
Yes.
sure is going to come back later, where Murphy's blends are shown in their incubation. pods.
Brisk in chat is saying, I like that they wrapped the blend storyline by having them captured by
Yep.
Zona.
Yeah, that was a huge question mark we had at the end of last season. We were like, what happened? There was an entire compound of Murphy's cult, and he's just perfectly happy to have left them out there as he, let's be honest, yeah, of course he would be okay leaving them out there. But I don't
They'll be
think,
fine, they're immune.
but yeah, I don't think he was, he certainly wasn't okay with them being captured and put in what is essentially cold storage.
Yeah.
Ugh. Even for a character as morally ambiguous as Murphy, he, to an extent, really cared about these people. And you can definitely tell it has an emotional effect on him when he sees them shoved into this warehouse, packed away and forgotten.
Congratulations.
Packed away and swept under the rug.
Congratulations, this perfect life you've been living for the past 2 years is not at all perfect. You're just benefiting from your status.
It's almost
God,
like...
it's a metaphor for America.
It's almost like living in Zona comes at a cost.
But see, that's when we hit, like, that is some horror movie madness, but that is, like, psychological horror movie madness, because we've had zombie horror movie madness for 4 seasons now. That's not new. But wandering into a different genre, almost, of, by the way, like that, I like when Z Nation
Now,
does that.
again, we don't necessarily want any spoilers if you do know. If you don't, then feel free to speculate with us. But my thought process
Or
is
lie to
because,
us.
or you can say what you thought when you read the script. But since we know that Zona is falling apart at the seams right now and they are just kind of piecing out, do we think that the blends are going to come back in some sort of story-related capacity? Or do we think that's just that's the wrap up for them, that we're never going to see them again?
I'm pretty sure that's the wrap up for them, because once Zona falls apart, I would imagine there's no one in or out because it's an island.
But, I mean, the people maintaining that right now, that goes right out the window, and then they could all thaw, maybe?
And wind up in an island full of insane cannibals. Yeah, that's exactly where I want to be. That's
But they're immune to zombies,
I'm
sort
pretty
of.
sure there are horror movies where that's the scenario, winding up on an island of insane cannibals.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
that one director whose name I can never
At the
remember.
very least, there's a video game called Dead Island, which is all about zombies on an island.
I think this is the end of the blends.
Oh,
Yeah. I think they had their storyline last season, and I don't foresee them coming back.
It would probably be a detriment to Murphy's character because he's being reintegrated into the group. And I feel like he wouldn't really be able to reintegrate into the group if he was still the leader of another group. So I feel like that's a
yeah.
fair
I think
assessment.
with this season they're trying to get back to the core group and a new mission. So I don't foresee it.
Michelle?
I agree with that. I think the blends are done.
All right.
Yeah.
See, what I'm wondering now is, now that Zona has gone to pieces, we still have Zona agents in the wild looking for Lucy, presumably to find a better cure because Murphy has contaminants in him because he's Murphy and he's been in the apocalypse for multiple years.
It could be all that casual sex that he mentioned.
It could also be the fact that he's straight up eating human brains.
That
That could be
Like,
too.
that might have activated something
weird,
in his
another
DNA.
virus, and yeah, who knows?
Yep.
But yeah, we have Zona agents who may or may not have contact with the island, who knows, with Lucy.
All right. So, yeah, I feel like that's a good segue to talk about...
Yes, that's why I said it.
Do we have
Thank you.
Do we have any other thoughts regarding the Zona escape with Murphy and Warren?
No.
Not really.
Probably just like the continuation of Warren's like visions and flashbacks, and that's seeing that is going to be is clearly being.
Oh, I have something. I think I read someone commenting. Who was driving the helicopter? Who was flying the?
That's a great
valid.
question.
I'm assuming another
Unvaccinated soldier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
That's my
more
assumption.
soldiers on there.
And PCs.
I will say, before we move on to the other storyline happening, I think it's important to point out the founder and his
Yes.
monologue and the Dunning-Kruger effect. Is that what it is? I didn't write it down. That's on
That
me.
sounds about right. Yeah.
And it makes me curious, and this is a little prediction-y, so I'll save most of it, but maybe the reset already happened, and that's what's happening.
Oh.
Because that was, he's talking about that effect and how the most incompetent people actually think they're the smartest.
When they don't have
He's-
all the
And
information.
he's just chilling with 2 chicks and breathing out of his skull, and he's fine. So he did something.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the reset already happened and the timeline that we have with New America and whatnot is actually happening like 2 years ago? So we have one time, the Zona timeline's in the present and everyone else is in the past. I'm sure that's not the case because that's hard
think that's
to
the
juggle.
case. I don't think that's the case because in the preview we see Murphy and Warren meet up with the rest of the crew.
That's true.
But I
It'd be
love,
hard to juggle, but wouldn't that be fun?
I love where your mind is.
I applaud the effort behind that theory.
All right, let's switch gears on over to talk about the rest of the crew, who they have decided they lose communication with the convoy that's supposed to be taking them to New America. So Doc and 10K, being the optimists that they are, volunteer to go and help.
I think they just wanted to shoot some things.
Yeah. I think
might
Doc
be
was
it
just
too.
bored, and that's why he left
Yeah.
the camp in the first place. No.
I mean, he was fighting zombies with hammers, so...
Yeah, he's like, I gotta go get my morning exercise.
Yeah.
Gotta get some calisthenics in there. So they go, and the weird thing about the convoy isn't so much that it's not coming for them. People get killed in the zombie apocalypse all the time.
People die when they're killed.
Yes, that's usually how it works.
And then in this series, they come back.
But everybody in the convoy has just straight up vanished.
They've Roanoke on this.
Yes! That's exactly what I was going to bring up! I love... I want to get on your level, Michelle. I wouldn't have compared it to Roanoke up until the same thing happens at the camp.
Yeah.
See, and my thought on that was because Red was on the... If I'm recalling this correctly, Red was on the radio and there was static, and then we had that cutaway. My first thought was...
That crazy intense zoom in, like, directly on her.
My first thought was, oh, it's like Cell. And my second thought was, I really hope it's not like Cell. Cell was terrible.
Like cell phone,
Like Cell, like
like the Stephen King.
King.
Oh, okay.
That was a book that
gonna
was
say.
good for about 100 pages. But yeah, part of the big impetus for what happens there is it's kind of a zombie story where some odd signal goes out over cell frequencies, and so everyone who is on their phone at the time, like physically talking on their phone, gets infected, and it drives them insane. Kind of rage zombie sort of thing. And then the book decides it wants to be intellectual and starts doing other things, and it's not nearly as good. But that first bit with it's coming over the cell signal, it's coming over the airwaves, was my knee-jerk reaction for this. Because, the convoy's got to be using radio to communicate car to car.
Yeah.
And then they're using radio to communicate with their away team. So, yeah, if the signal's coming over the radio, it makes sense.
I thought it was interesting that, because this is the second time that I can clearly recall where the signal cuts out on the coordinates. It's probably more than the second time in the season.
Oh,
the
yeah.
four
That's a
seasons
good
of Z
observation.
Nation. But it cuts
That's
out
a good detail.
on the coordinates, and then 10K comes on the radio, clear as a bell, and he's like, we're fine. He says something more graceful, but he's basically like, I'm busy, Red.
So
I would like to shoot something.
Somebody's listening. Who in this series have we noticed who listens in on radio transmissions?
Yeah, but
I hope
he
it's the
doesn't
baby.
send kill signals.
Who knows? Maybe he's infected.
The baby just hitting buttons.
It's been a long 2 years.
Yeah.
Citizen Z is done.
Yeah, he's
Citizen
done.
Z's baby is
I try to
just
help you
hitting
guys,
buttons on the
but-
control panel. Well, we don't know what happened to him. But I'm not thinking so much that he's responsible, so much as he's been hacked again, or somebody also has equal access to his to the technology that he had, or Kaya has gone full supervillain because he never came back.
Oh.
Although I highly doubt she remotely has the capability of making people disappear. So maybe this has to be a joint effort. And I don't think it's her. I'm just saying that for them to cut out specifically on the coordinates, that's either a very fortuitous coincidence on the part of whoever's responsible, or it's deliberate. That's my thought.
Could be either.
So, again, they gave you, and we don't want spoilers, obviously, and we don't want to make you say anything that would break an NDA or anything like that. But when you were handed the script and they gave you nothing, did you have any theories in your mind about, like, okay, where is Sunmei going to end up? Or did you have any wish lists of, like, hey, you know what'd be cool? I would love for her to go here.
When I read it, I thought it was gonna be some weird zombie hybrid creature. So reading it, I thought it was going to be a really big build up to seeing something that's going to get revealed later. But I'm hoping it's something more positive so that I'm still alive.
That would definitely be a plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, any theories, guys? Did everybody at the base camp go to the same place as Roanoke? Or
Didn't say they went to Roanoke. I just recently binge watched the Roanoke season of American Horror Story because it got added to Netflix. So when 2 disappearances happened, I just shouted Roanoke and Croatoan at my TV, and nothing happened. So.
I'm actually hoping it's going to be Emilio's character that comes back and saves us.
oh my gosh!
Because I love Emilio, and if he could come
Hector!
back and, you know.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And he's alive,
He saves the day.
of?
Yeah.
Well, his eyes
He's
opened
like
and they were weird cat eyes.
So maybe he's like a superpower.
Maybe
Hector.
this is better for predictions, but I think they've been transported to Numerica. Wherever that is, that's my thought process of like, oh, you guys want to go to Numerica? Okay, whoop, you're here. And
So in the middle of the apocalypse, someone built a teleporter.
I mean, we've had UFOs in this show.
But that
we've
was by
had
people
zombie
with
tumbleweeds.
funding. The UFO was from people with funding.
That's fair.
Maybe the zombie scrum just swept them all away. They all went out, and they're all in one circle, and the scrum just.
You just hear the Katamari Damacy music in the
zombie-
distance growing ever louder.
A zombie tornado came in and just swept everybody up.
There you go.
We've seen that already, but
Yeah.
So there's precedent for it. Alicia Perez says, was anybody hoping to see the ball of zombies roll by? We did have it in the last episode. But, okay, so talking, to shift gears away from the camp, because that's just a huge question mark, let's talk about this standoff scene, because we have Lucy and Addie. They've been captured by the Zona peeps who have set up this trap for the group investigating the convoy. And in the ensuing firefight, we get 2 things. One is we have a soldier who gets mercied.
And comes back.
He comes back as a Z. And there's this wonderful extended sequence of him constantly getting
That was
back and
really funny, I have to say. Like, ding, 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 ding.
That
was only in Z Nation where you're just playing ping pong with a zombie. Like,
It's like
that was
those
pretty
old
amazing.
cartoons where you have a character walking one way and it's like a shooting gallery and someone shoots and they turn on a dime and go back the other way.
It was
like,
pretty.
Yep.
It was
funny.
very Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It actually reminded me of the 1980s board game classic Crossfire. Where you get little metal balls and you have a stationary gun that you hang on to and you have to get these sliding things like
Into
shapes.
goals.
Well, shoot, we missed a
across to
grand
the other side.
opportunity. We should have opened with the Crossfire theme because that is an amazing commercial theme song.
It is, but then because
It's a little wild.
bullets, those tiny metal balls, like it just reminded me of trying to get the star into the enemy's
Yeah.
goal.
And that is amazing. That is my favorite comparison I think I've ever heard on this show.
Crossfire.
Crossfire.
I'll have to look it up.
It
Sounds familiar though.
was
now
a
that you
big
say
toy
the-
in the 90s. It was a
Yeah.
big toy board game. I don't
It
know if
sounds
they still
familiar.
make
Like,
it.
and
Yeah.
when you guys said the little jingle, I was like,
Yeah,
commercial.
I never
yeah.
owned the game, but gosh darn it if that theme isn't like buried into my brain.
Neither did I, but same.
I owned it.
This is why she
Wasn't
can
it
actually
as
make the
epic as it
comparison.
looked?
I had 2 brothers, so yes, I
Yeah.
owned it.
Makes sense.
Well, so did I, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point being, as hilarious as this scene was, as quintessential Z Nation humor as it was, the big thing here is, and we touched a bit on this last week, but the big thing here is that headshots no longer work, which I feel like is pulling the rug right out from under anybody who's ever watched anything zombie related. It is almost ubiquitous among the genre that a headshot works. And I'm sure that Z Nation didn't necessarily invent the headshot doesn't work, but I am hard pressed to think of any other examples where that was a factor in either zombie TV shows or zombie movies. Like, I'm trying to think of one, and I'm like, I'm coming up empty. I can't think of any immediate examples of where it's been done before.
If you can think of one, put it in the comments, put it in the hashtag, put it somewhere where we can see it. Because, yeah, I got nothing.
We got Alicia Perez on Twitter saying, this GIF was my reaction to the headshot not working on the guy they gave mercy to, and it's a GIF of Warren going, hell no. And I think that just about sums it up, because guys, what do you do if a headshot doesn't kill a zombie?
Yeah.
Set it on fire.
You have to
Cut
like
the head off.
Stake it to the ground.
Decapitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, and even then, I'm not.
Just cut off the jaw and the arms.
Yeah.
Michonne.
Oh yeah, like Michonne. There you go. I still wouldn't necessarily trust it. Like, I feel like it would still run after you, at the very least.
It's a lot less threatening, though.
Yeah.
It'll just give you a hug.
The only other types of quote-unquote zombies that I can think of where headshots don't necessarily work are straight up deadites, and those are demons, so that doesn't even count.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, that's an extended process. You have to get a chainsaw involved, and that's messy. It's really messy. So yeah, this is it turns what used to be you had to have a horde of zombies or a special kind of zombie for a single zombie to be a threat, and it's immediately turned one zombie into a huge threat.
It also makes
again.
your sharpshooters effectively useless.
Were the
Unless
nuclear
you-
zombies able to be killed with a headshot still?
No, because they had the hard heads. The blasters?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the hard heads. So you had to
yeah.
get creative.
Yeah.
But again, that was like a very specific type. From what we're seeing here is that it's becoming a ubiquitous thing. This guy was fresh. That's not good.
Which might be the virus mutating in people now.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess the only thing you can do is like take out their kneecaps and then just hope
they'll
that you can
still
outrun
crawl.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hope you can outrun them. Yeah, you straight up have to dismember a zombie in this capacity in order to keep it from
And that uses
attacking
a lot
you.
more bullets.
It uses a lot more bullets, it takes a lot more time, and it's a lot more harrowing.
So we are into Deadite territory.
No, those still very different, but yeah, it's not a good situation in any capacity. I do also want to talk about like the fact that in this episode we have not Doc, but 10K and Addie essentially having a shoot-off with one another without being aware of it.
Involuntarily.
Yeah,
Yep.
without being aware of it. Which, can we just give props to Addie for being able to like be that effective of a sharpshooter with one eye? Mm-hmm. Like, dang, girl.
I didn't know she could shoot like that, so.
Don't you
Good
just
for her.
need one eye for the sight?
I
Do not get me wrong. That's very impressive.
I mean, if you're
But
using
don't you typically close one eye to shoot?
if you're using a scope, I believe so, which she was, but otherwise you want to keep both eyes
Yeah,
open.
when shooting, both eyes open.
Otherwise, you limit your
Too
depth
to insult
perception.
One eye shooters.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you limit your depth perception, and it just like, yeah.
Yeah. And the two bullets hitting each other.
So funny.
That actually has historical precedent.
It does.
Back when people used to have duels,
1862
because toxic
Battle of
masculinity
Fredericksburg
is a
in the Civil
thing.
War.
that too.
You're welcome for that.
I was thinking
what
of there's
Mythbusters-
also a very specific duel where that happened.
Really?
Both men shot at each other. I can't remember if they were brothers or if they were just very close. And they shot at each other, and the bullets hit each other halfway through the field. And everyone was like, what the heck is going going on?
Where'd the
crazy.
bullets go?
Yeah. But yeah, multiple
What are
instances
the
of historical
chances?
precedents.
Well,
Was that a sign like you're not going to kill each other, or they still?
Well, they
kill
both
each other?
fired their shots, so it's like, all right, let's just be done with this. And
well, Addie sees him and recognizes him, which I think is probably a huge surprise to her because she had probably written off everybody else as dead and gone. So this is, I feel like it's a good way to like set up that the gang is getting back together again, and that we're not going to waste any time with it, because it's been like a recurring theme for the last 4 seasons to get the group together, break them apart, get the group together, break them apart again. So it's been a long time in the story, both in the story and just in the series in general, since the group has been united and together again. So it's nice to see that she recognizes him and that she's like, oh, what are the odds of that? Before inevitably they're all separated again. And since she gets separated from Lucy here, that's probably tracking down Doc and 10K is probably her next move. Of like, I'll get together with the group again or whoever's left, and then we'll get Lucy. That's my guess.
And Lucy might be making a day trip to Zona, which is currently hell. So
Oh, gosh. Although, here's a question, and we didn't really see it much with Murphy, but do you guys think she would have a connection with the people of Zona like she does with regular zombies?
possibly, or if we're looking for the blends to come back, she might find them. And
Ooh! And then be queen
And
of the
save them.
zombies!
The new blend queen.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool!
But yeah, we have a son in chat saying, I wonder if Lucy or Murphy can control the new zombies. That power's kind of perpetually in flux, so we'll see.
Yeah, it really depends, and these guys look like they're super ragey, so I wouldn't necessarily think so, but we'll see. All right, guys, we got other stuff to talk about. We got a little bit of news and gossip to get to, but first I want to start talking about predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So the gang's getting back together again? That's gonna be a happy reunion?
We're gonna solve this mystery.
Michelle,
The case of the missing girlfriend and also everyone else.
any thoughts?
I don't know now that you've said that whole kind of joke thing about Lucy going to Zona. I kind of feel like that would be such a fascinating storyline if they just missed each other. And they have to work to get back to Zona, and it's not what anyone thinks it is anymore. And maybe the blends do come back into play.
Because the Zona guys, their orders, as far as they know, are still to bring her back. So they show up and the whole place is a garbage fire. It's like, oh, this is new.
Well, shoot, what do we do? Maybe Zona has a contingency plan.
We still have Mr. Sunshine there.
Yes, we have Michael on the hashtag going, don't forget about the crazy doctor with the gas and the zombie hand. He may still complete the reset later on. So that's still a factor. Again, this is also assuming that maybe he wasn't inoculated. Maybe he could definitely. That's probably what Warren's visions are about. That's my guess.
Maybe Zona will be the testing ground for the reset to see if it works on all these crazy people. And if it does, hey, hello world.
That's a twist.
Ooh.
I like that.
Ooh.
You think you're special because you're the 0.0001%?
Guess what?
Well,
You're
now that
exactly
they're
what the
all-
world doesn't need.
Well, now that they're all homicidally insane, like change of plans and also a smaller sample group.
There you go. Minimize the damage to the rest of the world if there are any adverse side effects. I like it.
Well,
All right.
adverse side effects that include the sky being on fire. I mean,
We'll see. We'll see. To me, like, yeah, all of her visions of the
people melting.
yeah, it's definitely, it just screams like Terminator style nuclear apocalypse. But
Little bit.
but yeah, let's I think if that does it for predictions, let's get to some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Man alive, that is loud.
So, Katie, I'm going to go ahead and let you handle this one because you brought this to our attention before the show, and this is really exciting.
This was actually sent to me from one of my friends in Spokane. So, Spokane locals, this is going to be your thing. The scariest half mile of your life to be held in Riverside State Park. The hike is sponsored in part by Z Nation. Organizers said the sponsorship is upping the makeup game, and zombies will be scarier for this year's hike more than in years prior. So yeah, there's a zombie hike on Saturday, October 21st. Do the thing, win the stuff.
Wish I was in Spokane. That would
Maybe
be
you
so
can start
much
one
fun.
here in LA.
So basically, you hike the trail and there's zombies.
I've done zombie runs before. Nothing in terms of like official sponsored by Z Nation sort. This was before Z Nation was ever a show. I've done zombie runs in the past, and guys, they are so much fun. So if you happen to be in Washington, in the area, I definitely encourage you to go because it sounds like it's going to be a hoot. All right, I think that kind of just about does it for news and gossip. Guys, do we have any final thoughts before we wrap up? We still got a couple minutes. I want to talk to our guest. Sorry about that. Any final thoughts on this week's episode?
That
Mostly
noise.
that.
Yep.
Yes. I think that just about sums it up.
I feel like that's a pretty solid summary with the cannibalism and the disappearing people and the everything.
I concur. Sydney, again, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to us about what it's been like coming back for this season. Do you have any other upcoming projects that you can tell us about?
Not right now, no. Just looking forward to continue with Z Nation. But thank you for having me.
Of course.
thank you for coming.
Anything else that you want to let the fans of this show who have been really excited to see season 4, anything you want to let them know?
I don't think so.
Keep watching, guys.
Yeah, keep watching, keep being fans, and hopefully we come back for our 5th season, you know. I'm glad you guys are, enjoying the show and getting the creep factor and the,
Oh, it's been so fun.
all that, so.
It's been a very good time.
Well, again, we really appreciate you taking the time, and of course the continued support of the cast and crew. You guys have just been phenomenal, and you've been exceedingly gracious with your time, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
You can go to my Instagram at Sydney Viengluang. My Twitter is at Sydney Vieng, and Facebook Sydney Viengluang.
Thank you
Pretty easy.
so much again. Michelle, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias, as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. All of my shows are coming back. It's going to be completely nuts. Voltron starts next week, Mondays at 9. Arrow starts this week, Thursdays at 9, because CW moved the day on. It's Thursdays at 10, rather, for us. It's going to be a good time.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you all next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Roanoke!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.